I mentioned the defensive stats. This team is one of the best defensive teams we've seen in the last 20 years. That's just a fact. Here's another fact. Boston is one game away from tying the Houston Rockets of 94-95 for the most road wins ever in a playoff run ever. They're doing this with their two best players at 24 and 25. They're doing it with a rookie head coach. If they find a way to win this, and again, there's injuries throughout the entire playoffs, so everybody's like, oh man, well this, and that. I'm like, all right, everybody's hurt, so relax. This is like a pretty historic run considering what.
Where they started, they were 25 and 25.
They were in 11th place in the regular season at one point, and it was like just a disaster. But think about how much basketball has been played over the past couple of years, and everybody wants to give. And I'm not trying to make this like a LeBron Lakers thing, but everybody wants to give LeBron and the Lakers a lot of credit for winning a bubble title. And I'm not saying it wasn't hard. It was difficult. It was a circumstance nobody's ever seen before, which is why I think it was easy for LeBron to win because he's seen everything in comparison to everybody else in basketball. But this particular finals is kind of a war of attrition here. There has been so much basketball played over the past 2.5 years, 3 years, condensed very shortly. And you think about all the injuries, all the basketball played, all the minutes, all the fouls, all the falls on the floor, all this stuff. I think we're not giving either team the respect they actually really deserve in real time because we're so busy evaluating what Draymond said or what Boston did or what Boston didn't do.
The children.
I listened to Zach Lowe this morning, and Zach Lowe is still obsessed about Game 7, Miami-Boston. Like, he still wakes up in a quote-unquote cold sweat thinking about Jimmy Butler taking a 3 at that point. And maybe this will come after it's done, but, like, this team is historically great, and I don't, like, think we're talking about that nearly enough. And if they pull this off, and if they pull it off, if they win tonight, and they go up 3-1, maybe that'll start happening. Maybe the conversation will start shifting to like, holy cow, this is actually unbelievable. But I've never wavered on this team because I do think they're more talented than everybody else. Their head coach pushes all the right buttons when it needs to happen.
What do you call them, a-holes in the timeout the other night?
Love it. No, seriously.
That tweet?
I love
that.
I asked the guys about that today at media, and both Marcus and Grant Williams told me, like, yeah, he says stuff like that all the time. No, that's not out of character, and he said a lot worse. So I don't know what you guys are all.
I want to hear what worse.
Yeah.
Grant, I asked Grant, like, what's the craziest thing Ime said to them, and he's like, I really can't repeat it. I'm not sure that I can take any of the words.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like off
in
the
a
record.
public forum.
Yeah, exactly. Did you, like, to your point though, Evan, I obviously I want Abby to react to everything you just talked about and trying to put this team in a historical context. But I just saw the stat the other day. Obviously it still holds true. He's still playing. Do you know who has played more minutes than anybody else in the NBA? Any team since play resumed in 2020 after the 4-month layoff?
Is it the Celtics?
Jason Tatum.
Single person, yeah.
One single person.
Jason Tatum has played more minutes than anybody else in the NBA.
By like a good margin too, by the way. It's not like a small margin. Like Tatum.
Because they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
And the guy played through COVID multiple times.
Yeah. In that bubble season, Bud wouldn't play Giannis more than a certain number of minutes.
Right.
And then the Lakers are not here now. So yeah, they're the one constant. Neither are the Raptors. So it makes sense. I'm not surprised by that. I do. So Evan, I would say I, more than anyone, am completely guilty of the day-to-day just because I am like immersed in it day to day.
It's fine.
I'm what?
It's your job.
Right.
On a day-to-day basis. That is your job.
Right. And to be in the moment and present. And I do feel like that's so much of the message that you get from them is to be in the moment. And you can really only focus on the next play. I'm so sorry about my.
Is that Grant? Does Grant want to chime in?
No, but it is. So while we're on the topic of I closed this. While we're on the topic of oh my gosh.
It's I mean, it's got to be important.
No, it's a Wordle competition between friends. And all of the answers are just coming in now. And so there's so many emojis. I'm on a laptop and I can't figure out how to turn it off. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're good. We're getting to know you better.
Do it live.
I would say that it's also a product of living in Boston, where anything less than a championship is a disappointment. And especially now with this team, the way that we've been talking, that we all do feel like they are the better team. If they fall short, that will be disappointing. But you're absolutely right, Evan. And I've tried to keep that in mind throughout this run, is that we cannot discount how far this team has come. And that's what, and what you were talking about, that's what made the last 2 years so disappointing under Brad, even in the bubble when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, is that they do have the talent. It was just a matter of harnessing all of that, bringing them together so that the sum is greater than the parts. But then also the moves that Brad made, the addition of Derek White has been huge for this group. And I go back to media day when the message was we're doing everything to support the two pillars of this franchise. That is all we are focused on. And they have really, truly lived up to that. But also, I try not to lose sight of those dark days. In November, I was in that press conference room when Marcus Smart called out Jason and Jalen, and everyone collectively in the room was like, what did you just do? And then we go to Orlando, and mid-game, it breaks. Adrian Wojnarowski with the Woj bomb, that they had a players-only meeting, which is like the worst words when it comes to team sports. And it was bad. They were horrible to watch. It was no fun. No one had any fun. And I haven't made a secret of this. I had a vacation plan for my dad's 70th birthday, June 9th through the 14th. Like,
oh, man.
It was planned months ago. Yes, started today.
Oh,
my whole family is there.
I was gonna say, like, checking my calendar real quick.
Yeah.
bummer.
Everyone arrived at Yosemite hours ago.
Oh,
So, I did not see this coming. It is absolutely remarkable. The defense is, I feel like, yes, generational. I mean, it's got to be up there with the best of the best. And I do think that if they win it all, that will be placed in the proper context. I mean, look at the way we look back at the 2018 and just how much we have romanticized that group
and how much they've romanticized themselves.
Absolutely. Which they have a right to do because they won a ring. So
no, I know. It's just, and look, I loved the 2008 Celtics like everybody else, but nobody loves the 2008 Celtics like the 2008 Celtics.
Haven't lost playoff series yet, but that's 35.
Yep.
So right. I think that ultimately they will get their due. And that's what's exciting, as you guys pointed out. I mean, Jason and Jalen are 24 and 25 years old. In the NBA, guys don't start peaking until they're 28. And that's about the number. I mean, LeBron James was 27, 28 when he won his first title. So the cool thing is, hopefully, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. Well, and especially if you can, I know these guys have plenty of term left on their contracts. We won't turn this into a much bigger picture, look ahead to Celtics future seasons and all that. But this really has been, kind of the missing piece, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like, they've had deep runs to the East Finals multiple times before under Brad. If they can actually get the championship, this is that thing that, like, more than anything else to me, that could say to Tatum, to Brown, to, your key core, yeah, I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep doing this.
Absolutely.
As opposed to the guys like LeBron in Cleveland, or so many others that we could name, who say, they're elite and they get to the end of their contract and they say, I don't think I can win here. If you can actually get it done, then it's a different conversation. Then it's, how many do I have to win for it to be a dynasty? Or, how do I get my number retired here? It's, it's the bigger picture stuff that, look, these guys are they're thinking about it. They're absolutely thinking about it in their backs of their minds.
Well, it's funny that
legacy is always, I think, part of the conversation.
They're playing Golden State, which has two guys that have been there forever with Clay, Dre, and Curry. They're essentially trying to be that particular group. I mean, you go back to Oklahoma City, Durant, Harden, Westbrook, they couldn't get it done. And that's why they all left. They couldn't win a title together. It just wasn't.
They also weren't willing to pay. Their owner wasn't willing to pay.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
And we'll see. We'll see with Wick. We'll see with that when the bill comes.
I have no doubt. They have.
Going to be a very interesting offseason conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it either, because he's talked big game, but I'll see it when it happens. But it's just funny.
TPs you can use though. You got some big ones.
I will say when you look at the luxury tax for the Warriors, that was shocking. I didn't realize. Their luxury tax is greater than their salary. It's like 1/7 or about almost the same. So you're basically paying double for that roster.
I heard a foolish, to put it kindly, caller on the radio, I think it was entering the finals, saying, like, is this the worst Celtics team to ever advance to the NBA finals? And I don't know why we can't just have nice things and enjoy the playoff run. I don't want to debate that right now or probably ever. But what I would love to hear, if someone wants to do the research, odds are I'm not going to. Please find me, never mind the regular season, please find me a postseason that has a gauntlet like the preseason and much of the regular season, even at some sports books entering the postseason, championship favorite in round 1 with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, the defending champs and MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo on the other side in round 2, the number 1 seed in the conference in round 3, and then in the finals, a team that's there for the 6th time in 8 years. Like, please find me a gauntlet like that in NBA history. That, like, I just want to know. I just want to know.
Doing it for the first time under a first-year head coach.
Yes.
I want that person to go outside. That is an outrageous phone call.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
when you're thinking about that, whoever that caller, I hope
how many championships they had in the 60s.
That's a rough call right there.